Whoever is listening, welcome back. My name is Grayson Mann, and welcome back to the Man with the Plan podcast. Today, guys, I told you in January we're going to have an electric off season, and we're going to keep that rolling with a very special guest in RJ Godfrey, Clemson freshman basketball. It's been quite the year for Clemson basketball, one of the best starts, one of the best teams in program history. When you look at the number of ACC wins, when you look at all they've accomplished, they really come together and are gearing up for a run in March. RJ, welcome to the program, man. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. It's just an honor just to be on here and just talk to you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Honor is kind of a interesting word there, but let's just start with your basketball journey. You three-star prospect out of North Gwinnett, Georgia. Just want to kind of talk to me about that recruiting process. And I think what's so fascinating, I've had a couple basketball players on here before. What's so interesting to me is how stuff like AAU and that area of how you're recruited is really brought into the spotlight. So for you, can you kind of detail what your recruiting journey was like and how stuff like that, like I mentioned with AAU, what's the difference there and what separates it from maybe how football players get recruited or golf or tennis, stuff like that? I think basketball, it's in its own sphere.
Yeah, so my recruiting process was super strange. I started getting a lot of looks and offers during the COVID session. So I was on a lot of phone calls, FaceTime calls, Zoom calls, and it was different from like a traditional recruitment where coaches come to your house or they'll show up at your games and stuff. So all the coaches really watch my games through video and a lot of film rather than in person. So that was kind of weird. But when they started to open back up, I started to get like the real feel of the recruitment process. And I mean, that just really opened my eyes. And it really, I loved it just seeing like coaches come to my house and just all that stuff, all the basics that comes with recruiting. But I would say the difference between like football and like the basketball stuff, like I feel like because there's much more football players than basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother, he's a four-star headed to Kentucky this season. So I would say the difference between me and him is, I would say uh, it's more like film oriented. Like he gets a lot of it's way more. I would say like not like strict, but it's way more pressure on him because there's like a lot more schools using social media. Like he has a ton of offers from a bunch of schools, rather than like a basketball player won't get as many as like of a football player, but like a lot more mail, a lot more text, a lot more like just like gear and stuff for football, I would say. But I think the basketball, like the AAU piece, really does also make that kind of even up with the football.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting a realm, and I think you really hit it on the head with COVID. Is how strange it had to be, especially taking phone calls, taking Zoom calls. So let's start with when you initially met Brad Brownell. Was that over Zoom? Did he initially make an impression over the phone, or was it something that happened in person where you got to meet with him, maybe tour the campus, see Little John? Can you walk me through your initial recruitment with Clemson and why did it end up being the Tigers that you decided to choose as your home?
So the first time I talked to the head coach, Brad Brownell, was over the phone one night when my AU coach gave me his number, and he was like, he really likes you, and he wants to talk to you. So I called him because they had like these rules about you calling them first and stuff. So I called coach, and we had a long conversation. I fell in love with the program as soon as I came up here on my visit. I'm from Swanee, Georgia, so it's only about an hour 20 north of where I'm from. So it's relatively close to home. And, I came up here. It was such a family environment. I was here alongside, I think, one or two other crews our first time, and we had dinner lunch with the team before the football game. We had smoking pig, which is delicious. So, I just fell in love with the atmosphere as soon as I came up here, and I was like, I have to be here.
RJ, you're gonna make me hungry, man. Mentioning smoking pigs, so we might have to keep that talk to a minimum. But so you mentioned that family atmosphere at Clemson. Let's just kind of walk through your first year here, and we can exclude the basketball part of it, just acclimating to this kind of environment and really just on campus. What's it been like? Have people been like, oh, it's RJ, or just how the family atmosphere really? I think it's one thing to go, yeah, it's a family atmosphere when you're on there maybe for a day, but when you are here on a day-to-day basis, this is your second home, you're living here, going to class. What's that been like in that transition?
Oh man, it's great. It's great. This is like one of the best college campuses in America. It's like a small town college feel, so you get to see everyone like around. I see all the football players I talk to every day. I see them every day, just walking around downtown, getting something to eat. Just around the nearest center too. I mean, it's great. Like, I would say when I first got here, no one really knew who I was, and then but like the fan base and the people here, they're so supportive. So the more they start coming to games, like even like the little stuff, like I'll be walking down the street. Oh my God, you're RJ. You play really. They'll say something nice. I took a couple pictures 2 weeks ago. Like so, I would say later in the season during the ACC play, people have been starting to uh, recognize me and really show me some love.
Yeah, and I think that it's been really fantastic to watch how this roster and this team has grown. And in terms of your game, RJ, how would you describe it if you were no one's watched basketball, no one's watched a game of you play. They want to tune into Notre Dame on Saturday and they go, man, I want to watch RJ Godfrey. But what is this game like? What would you tell that person? And just summate the summation of what you are as a player.
Yeah, first I would say I'm a really tough, gritty, energy guy who's gonna fight every possession and try to make those dirty energy plays. To really get the crowd going or get our team going when we're like a little bit slow stuff. I love to play inside. I love the contact, love the physicality. So I feel like I'm a really, I wouldn't say a junkyard dog type of player, but I'm a real fun player to watch who's going to really be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, certainly. And when Brownell, when we talked to him at press conferences after the games, or we're just trying to get an answer out of him, and we ask about you, RJ. It's nothing but praise, and he calls you pretty much exactly how you describe it. You're gritty. You do all the right things. You attack the basketball. What does that kind of praise mean to you? And how has your relationship grown since the season's progressed? And how much has he taught you, Brownell? And can it be anybody on the coaching staff that's helped you evolve in in a sense for a season where you're playing teams like Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, NC State? These are some of the best basketball schools in the country. How has your game grown because of that?
Oh, my game has grown dramatically. Like I think Brad Brownell is probably one of the smartest basketball minds in the country, probably the smartest. He has super high IQ, and just literally every day I learn something new. Uh, IQ wise, I had a very very big IQ jump to make from high school to college, but he's taught me so much, even like little things. He's very detail oriented, so just being coached by him, he just makes you see the game so much easier. And once you like start to learn more, it starts to slow down. So when you're playing those big teams like UNC, Duke, it's no problem. Like when you're out there, it's no problem. It's just like you know what's coming, you know what to expect.
Yeah, and as the season started, and as you say, you've been learning all these little things, these details. The way this season's gone, and y'all are picked 11th to finish in the ACC. Y'all are currently sitting at fourth with a chance to clinch a double bye, which is something here on campus we haven't seen in a while. And just talk me through the early stage of the season, because it doesn't just start in November when the ball tips off in Littlejohn. There is a process to this. Did you guys have a sense of saying, hey, maybe we can do something special this year? Or was there a specific game where there was somebody going, okay, there's something to this team. Let's capitalize on that and get the ball rolling. What happened? What was the energy like to start the maybe preseason workouts?
Well, I think it's different for everyone because as a freshman, I didn't really know what to expect or know how good we were going to be going in. But I would say so. The reason why we're so good is because we had so much time spent together in France in the summer, and just all season we grinded. Everyone, the team, everyone gets along. Everyone loves each other. So, like we're all brothers. So that's one reason why we're really good. But I would say like the game where I thought that we were gonna be really special was probably the first ACC game, the first or second ACC game where we blew out Wake Forest, and we played. I think we played NC State right after, or Georgia Tech, and we blew them out too. I was like, hey, I think we're going to be a special team this year. So after those two ACC, those two big games, I was like, yeah, we're gonna be real good.
Yeah, and starting 10-1 in the ACC was the best start in program history. You guys have beaten the mark. You guys have broken the record for ACC wins, and you can continue to do that with a win against Notre Dame. In terms of this team, you guys say you're together. It's a brotherhood. Coming in as a freshman, and like you said, there's a lot to learn. I think one of the unique traits of this team is that it's an older roster. You've got guys like Brevin Galloway, who you can joke he's the senior citizen of college basketball coming out there. PJ Hall, Hunter Tyson, who of the older guys would you say really took you under their wing and has really helped you grow as a player? Maybe it's off the court, maybe it's how to behave like a college basketball player, watching film and doing all the right things. Who has that been, and how has that relationship grown?
Definitely Hunter Tyson. Hunter Tyson, since the first day I stepped on campus, wanted to see me do good things and great things. He's always coaching me up. He gets on me when I'm doing bad, but he's there when I'm playing good. He's always the first one to help me up, high five me. He's one of the nicest and best people I ever met in my life. So I would say him. PJ does a lot of mentoring to me too. We have a lot of long talks and stuff about just being a good player, making the right plays, and I love hanging out with PJ outside of the court. So I would say him, PJ, and also Chase Hunter. Me and Chase Hunter, we kind of grew up together. Our families know each other real close, so I would say those three guys really, really helped me get through it.
Yeah, and I can see on the bench, and we're up here for our little press row. But occasionally I'll look over the bench, and maybe it's Hunter, maybe it's Brevin, maybe it's you guys, maybe it's the freshmen. It always feels like you that 15 of y'all are engaged. It always feels like, and it's not a big unit. It's not a sideline full of staff. It's not a crowd of people. You guys are really collective as a unit, very focused, engaged. You could be up 30 against Florida State like it was last week, and there's a bad call, and everyone's like, oh, what the heck, or something like that. And I have a picture of Brownell doing a surrender cobra where he's got his hands on his head and he's up 25. And I was thinking, dude, come on, almost like a chill out type of moment. But the engagement, is that something that's really helped you all this season? Is no matter what the situation is, everybody's fired up, everyone's engaged, everybody's locked in.
Oh, for sure. Hunter always before the game always stresses being level headed. No matter if we're down 20, up 10, or just no matter what the score is, just keep on playing hard because it's only going to get you better if you keep if you keep level headed throughout the whole game. It's gonna make your team way better. So
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of what this team's been able to accomplish, I think that's a product of it. And for you and this freshman class, you got guys like Chauncey, Josh Beadle, you yourself, the Nassif brothers, Matt Kelly, this group right there. What has this group meant to you, especially guys like you, Beadle, and Chauncey, really elevated your roles as the seasons progressed? That trio there really stands out to me as a trio that's really learned a lot and grown up together on the court in such a short amount of time. Has y'all's relationship developed, Beadle and Chauncey, stuff like that?
yeah, I would say me and Chauncey's relationship has really tightened over the season because some games we play little, some games we play a lot, but in that time, like we always try to tell each other, bro, like, we're gonna get our time's gonna come. Just sit back, just be ready for the moment. But I would say Beatles also taught me a lot. Beatles very mature, and he has a lot of nice words to say when things aren't going good. But I would say that trio really has gotten tired when the season came.
Yeah, and I also have to add the freshman Dylan Hunter. I forgot to put that. I guess the quality the core four of freshmen that it come to mind, especially being the younger brother of Chase Hunter, having that bond is really something we don't see much in college basketball, but it's a nice story. I think is that brother that kind of dynamic in the locker room where it's a sibling rivalry almost, or because I have two siblings, RJ, and it can get crazy sometimes. So in the locker room, I can only imagine that sometimes it's interesting to have an older brother like Chase and a young buck like Dylan. Does that not in the sense of clashing in terms of conflict, but just because they're siblings, it's a little different.
Yeah. When we're playing, I think everyone's so close. We don't really like get a feel that like they're two are brothers. It's like everyone else on the team is brothers, but Dylan, he's my roommate. I love him to death. Like he's one of the funniest dudes ever. So it's like I would say the only difference between like Dylan and Chase and like our relationship with them, like when they get in an argument, it's more real. Like it's more like, hey, like I used to do that with my little brother too. Like I get him, but I would say that's the only like difference with Chase and Dylan's relationship than anyone else on the team.
Yeah, because I remember early in the season they had Dylan Hunter out there and Chase Hunter out there. Not only did I go, this is going to get confusing, but then I realized, oh shoot, there's a familial connection there, and that's super cool. And so just something to keep track of as the season progressed. For you, RJ, this season's had its ups, it's had its downs, it's had its streaks. You've had I think this season's had everything really. For you personally, has there been a game where when you look back and you reflect at the end of this year going, okay, this is where I've grown the most, and what can you take away from that?
Uh, I would say the game. So I think I had multiple games like that. Like I would say the game where I gained my most confidence was the Virginia Tech game, but also a game where I could have been locked in and more prepared was probably the Duke game. I didn't play as well. I also had games where I brought energy, like Boston College came in, brought energy, and just came in aggressive. Like I feel like there wasn't one game where I can reflect on the season, more of like a whole general outlook, I would say. And I haven't really thought about like what I need to really work and do for it to be like a really good player next season because I'm still focused on this season and what we have right in front of us. But I would say it's a general outlook of the whole season of how I can like I mean, like there's multiple games where I can say like and like what I need to do better and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear you. And it's the focus, like we mentioned before on this program, is the engagement and how you're locked in and focused and ready to really take these next couple games, whether it's a whole run of the conference tournament, a game against Notre Dame. There's really always something to look forward to. And I think for you, it's really important for that. I'm surprised you didn't mention you. I had this listed down as season high in points against Virginia Tech, and that's kind of a big accomplishment, right? For a double digits right there, and that was on the road, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that game was crazy. That was a very anticipated and huge game for us.
Mm-hmm.
That game, my confidence booster game. I love that game. That was one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite games in my life.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, we're just going to get a couple of those rapid fire fun questions for you, RJ, to really let the audience get to know you and just in terms of not just a basketball level, but personal. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, I think it says hashtag leave no doubt. And is that a t-shirt from North Gwinnett?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just leaving no doubt. Every time you step on the court, just play your heart out because you don't want to be looking back in 20 years and be like, I could have played harder. Or I could have did this better. I could have worked harder. Just leaving no doubt. That's what
And
it's
what
all
is
about.
that environment at North Gwinnett meant to you? Because I've had Barrett Carter on this podcast, and he's another North Gwinnett
Yep.
alum, and he spoke very highly of the culture there. He often visits back there when he gets the chance to. What is that? Being able to go back to a place that's not only close, but it feels like there's a big tie there. What's that been like?
Yeah. So to me, it's the best city in the world. Like the community, they're so supportive in every sport and everything. They care for you on and off the court, no matter if you're doing good or you're doing bad. But it's like Swanee is one big family. Everyone there, take care of you, cheer you on, and no one's gonna bring negative energy to you. It's just that place is just a special place.
Yeah, and it's interesting to be able to have two North Gwinnett alums representing this podcast now. So I just had to ask, and I saw the Leave No Doubt shirt and wanted to make sure I got that in. Um, I do have to ask you, RJ, and this is kind of we're just going from question to question. I had Brevin Galloway on in the spring, and I think he said the thing that impressed him the most about Clemson when he wasn't there is the student section and the atmosphere. He said when he was at Boston College, fans were filling up the student section an hour before the game starts, talking trash, all of this great stuff. What has the atmosphere been like every time you step into LJC?
Uh, Probably the same thing with Brevin said. Like our students, especially the side away from our bench, they're there an hour 20 minutes early, showing the memes, cheering you on. But I would say for me, like I love the lights. I love the lights in Little John. Like come in, especially the lights at the top. They're so bright. It makes you feel like you're on the brightest stage. in college basketball. Like compared to other gyms, like I thought Virginia Tech, like it was dull and like not as light. And I didn't like Virginia's gym either, but I really do love our lighting system in Little John.
Yeah, the little pregame show. It's very fun, and it's between Death Valley and Little John, the two light shows that they try to put on before the games are always fascinating to me. And just the presentation, it's a big part of what makes Clemson Clemson. And you mentioned the memes earlier. Is there one in particular that's really caught your eye? There's the Let Brad Cook stuff. There's obviously the Nutty Professor with Brevin. There's a bunch of other stuff with that. But has there been maybe a sign or that's caught your eye from a student?
Yeah, it's definitely the Grit Father one. Have you seen that one?
I
So
haven't. What is that?
so it's like the Godfather, like the movie the Godfather, but they just put Coach Brownell in the logo and they made it the Godfather and have him clapping. And then there
Oh,
was
that's
one there was one with Amir Sims I liked. I just forgot what it was, but I think there was one oh yeah, the Let Brad Cook one that was funny. But Twitter has a lot of nice memes too about PJ and all that stuff, which I love. So
yeah. I don't know what it is with basketball, but the meme culture is certainly something that goes undefeated in this realm. So before we wrap up, RJ, we just also want to thank you for your time. We're gonna do some rapid fire stuff, like I said. Want to get the audience to know you as a person, just not besides the all the basketball questions and the nitty gritty. So we're just gonna go rapid fire as best you can. So we're just gonna start. Is there a professional team or maybe a sports team that you watch outside of basketball for Clemson that you just are diehard for or root for?
oh yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. Um, but I'm not like one of the annoying Cowboys fans who say we're gonna win every year. But I love the Cowboys. I love the Lakers. I wouldn't say the Lakers. I love watching LeBron play, and of course, I'm a cheer for my hometown team, the Hawks and the Falcons.
Yeah, so the Cowboys one, I just can hear a bunch of people watching this going awesome, or a bunch of people going like, ah, no, like
Yeah,
another one of those. Yeah, the Cowboys fans carry a certain reputation. Were you able to watch LeBron break the scored record?
I was. I didn't watch the whole game, but I caught the second part right after my tutoring session. So
Yeah, I remember watching that. Was I think he had 38 or something to break it, and they stopped the game, which was crazy to me that they just completely stalled the momentum, and it was just an insane night. And I guess they have to just because it's history. But another one, a place to Clemson. What's the go-to place for you to go to Clemson? Whether it's to hang out, to eat, is there a specific spot that you have if you're trying to recruit someone to come here, and that you got to say, hey, this is the place to go.
yeah, so to eat, I love. I mean, who doesn't love cookout? I love going to cookout, but if I want like something healthier or better, or like a sit down place, I probably go to this is a place called Tokyo. It's right on Tiger Boulevard, kind of near that Mellow Mushroom. That place is amazing. Really good hibachi stuff. And also downtown you have Soli's. Soli's is really nice. And oh the Charles Sports Bar, they have really good chicken Alfredo. So uh
Hitting it right on the mark. And I told you no spoken pig because I'm gonna. It's not even open today. It's just gonna break my heart.
yeah.
You might maybe at your time at Clemson, RJ, we can petition for smoking pig to stay open 7 days a week. That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't
That would be a great petition. That
it?
there's a Fudd Ruckers in Anderson. I think we need to get one closer in Clemson. That would be a nice addition for a nice little food spot in Clemson.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, another question. A couple more before we wrap up. Is there an NBA player that you've grown up idolizing, or someone you try to model your game after?
Yeah, well, so I grew up really watching a lot of LeBron James, but I mean, I came to the reality I probably won't ever play like LeBron James. I probably won't be as smart and athletic and skilled as him. But I would say now I watch a lot of Herb Jones. I try to catch the Pelicans game at least once or twice a week. Um, so I watch a lot of Herb Jones. I watch a lot of Draymond on defense too. I really try to model people's defense because I think that's gonna get you the most attention and like that's gonna get me where I want to go. I would say my defense, so I try to watch Herb Jones and Draymond a lot.
Yeah, Draymond's also got a nice podcast that I'd love to have his viewership for. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, Yeah. Okay. Last one. This is a little bit of a late in the summer. We can revisit this one later. Is there an NBA Finals prediction that you have currently, or and I obviously March Madness you're going to go with your squad, but for the NBA Finals, is there a early prediction?
So out the West, I have the Mavericks.
Ooh.
I think Kyrie and Luka offensively. How do you stop that? How do you
Okay.
stop? How do you stop Kyrie and Luka? I don't believe in the Suns. I don't. I have Mavericks out the West, out the East, out the Bucks, and then I probably say Bucks in 6 or 7. But if the Mavs don't make it out the West, the Clippers will. But the Mavs will lose. The Mavs will lose to the Bucks, but if the Clippers come out, they'll win the finals.
We might have to have you back on the show when the NBA playoffs roll around because the Mavericks and the Bucks. That's an interesting prediction. I don't
Yeah,
personally. The Suns once they get things clicking, if they can. I don't know if you're going to be a believer in them, but I think it's tough with KD and Chris Paul. That could be an interesting duo. For me, I'm a Celtics guy. I think they got a chance to win it all this year. The Bucks are going to be tough, but
yeah.
we shall see. But that'll do it today for this episode of the Man with the Plan podcast, episode 116. If you want more episodes like this, another interview maybe with RJ after the season wraps up, we'll definitely have to fit that in with your schedule. But guys,
Sure.
comment down below what you want to see next. If you want more interviews like this or interviews with guys like Bo Collins, Marcus Tate, Barrett Carter, RJ Godfrey, or Ricky Sapp, continue to subscribe to help me out and lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content that is on your screen. Guys, thanks as always for supporting the show, and thank you for 17,000 listeners across all platforms. Thank you so much as always. Take care and have a fantastic day.